Alright, we're finishing up section 3.4. I've already written some stuff up here, so I'm going to talk you through it, and then I've got a few more things to write. So, recall all possible rational zeros of an equation are the factors of the constant divided by the factors of the leading coefficient. So we're going to just work our way through an example, and that's pretty much going to make this video up. We want to find all rational solutions of this equation. 3x to the fourth plus 14x cubed plus 14x squared minus 8x minus 8 equals 0. Well, using our rule, we know what our factors of the constant and the leading coefficient are. So we write those out, and then we'll write out the possible solutions. So it's plus or minus 1, 1/3, 2, 2/3, 4, 4/3, 8, and 8/3. These are all the possible solutions, plus or minus. Okay? Well, just by the eye test, I can see that plus or minus 1 is not going to give me 0. So I can mark that one out right away. From that point forward, what I normally do is just start with my integers, because they're easier to deal with than fractions, and I work my way down. In this situation, I found that -2 is a 0. So the way we figure that out is we use synthetic division with a -2 here, and work our way through to get a remainder of 0. But here's where we do something different. What that tells us is x plus 2 times this quotient equals the original equation. From this point forward, we don't worry about the original equation. We are now dealing with this equation, which eliminates some of these possible choices and saves us quite a bit of time, actually. So, what are the possible solutions on this one? Well, it's plus or minus 1, 2, and 4 divided by plus or minus 1 and 3. So notice in the original we've eliminated here and here already, because it turns out that we have plus or minus 1, 1/3, 2, 2/3, 4, and 4/3, and we've already eliminated 1 from the equation back here. So I've eliminated these 3, or with plus or minus those 6, and I've already found 1 0. Okay? So, dealing with this equation now, I want to find the zeros of that. Well, recognize that I can, again, use the eye test on certain ones. For example, if I put 2 in here, well, I can immediately see that 2 cubed times 3 plus 2 squared times 8 is not going to balance out to equal 0, nor is -2. So I can mark 2 off my list pretty quickly. 4 being the same way. 4 cubed is a pretty big number, 4 squared is a big number, so I can mark those off. So use the just eye test is what I call it, or plugging in, whatever you want to look at, to eliminate factors without doing all the work. Don't synthetically divide everything. Now I've gotten down to these 6 choices, plus or minus 1/3, 2/3, and 4/3. So by plugging in, I found that -2/3 is a 0. So again, I'm using this equation now to synthetically divide into. Right? Well, what that tells me is when I get a remainder of 0, it tells me that x plus 2 times x plus 2/3 times this quotient gives me the original equation. So now I'm dealing with this equation. And I forget this one, and I forget this one. So there's 2 more zeros we want to find. I can simplify this equation by dividing by 3. And it leaves an x squared plus 2x minus 6, or excuse me, minus 2 equal to 0. To find zeros at this point, I wouldn't synthetically divide. I would just use my quadratic formula. Plus or minus, excuse me, -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So plugging these in, I get a negative 2 plus or minus 4 minus 4ac. Well, 4 times 1 is 4 times a negative 2 gives you negative 8. So we're going to go plus 8 here. Is that right? And then 2a just gives you 2. Am I right on that? 4 times 1 is 4 times a negative 2. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive. Good. So, negative 2 plus or minus square root of 12 over 2. Well, this can be broken down into two answers, obviously. So you get negative 2 plus root 12 over 2, and negative 2 minus root 12 over 2. This can be simplified a bit, but I would accept these answers as your other two zeros. You could pull out some stuff out of the 12 and cancel the 2's, however you want to do it, but I would accept this as the final answer. So we'll call this a 0, this a 0, and then we have the other two zeros right here. So this is how we're going to find, we're going to use synthetic division and this rule to find the rational solutions of an equation. And recognize the last step, we didn't use any of that, we went back to our quadratic formula. So that's pretty much going to sum up this video with this one example. I've got one more video to do, it'll be real short, and that'll wrap up 3.4.